What's up, guys? So the topic of today's video is going to be Yankum ropes and why they are worth it and why they are far superior to using any other kind of strap or anything like that for off-road recovery. So if you'll notice, here I have a kinetic rope and a flat strap. The norm for years and years has been just using normal flat straps like this, or like the endless loop slings, for using using those in off-road recovery. Put these between two trucks and pull on them, and that's been considered fine for years. Unfortunately, a lot of people still consider that fine. In recent years, kinetic ropes have become wildly popular, and rightfully so, because it allows you to take a normal, half-ton truck or a Jeep, and it allows you to do so much more with it, because how the kinetic pulls work with like a flat strap, when you get a running start and you hit the end of the slack with the normal flat strap, all of the energy is dumped right then and there. It stops. That you're not getting any benefit out of it. You're not, unless you get the vehicle moving, you're no longer using the energy that you created by getting that running start. And it's obviously very harsh of a hit. When you hit the end of a normal flat strap like this, it is very harsh. Like, you come to an abrupt stop. It is hard on everything. When you hit the end of a kinetic rope, these ropes stretch like 30% of their own length. So this is a 30-foot rope. So this rope will stretch 9 feet in addition to its own length. So when you hit the end of this, it's like you have a cushion. It stretches whenever you hit it. And at that point, it allows you to kind of think of it almost kind of like a winch. You can run out on the end of the rope and stop and hit the brakes, and then the rope still has that stretch in it, and it'll want to like kind of pull the other vehicle out. And so when you go and you hit the end of the rope, you're using that energy you created by getting that running start to help pull the vehicle out of the mud or the sand or whatever it is that it's stuck on, making these kinetic ropes far superior to using just a normal flat strap because of the energy absorption that the kinetic ropes have over a normal flat strap. Now, another one of the big key features of the kinetic ropes over a flat strap is how much they're rated for, like, their braking strengths. So Yankum ropes, if you look on their tags, it'll say MBS, which most people assume is maximum braking strength. Yankum ropes advertises off of the minimum braking strength, not the maximum. So, for example, this is a 7/8 kinetic rope. The 7/8 kinetic ropes are rated for like 4-door Jeeps, half-ton pickups, that size of a vehicle. You go up to like a 1-inch rope. Those for like 3/4 ton trucks, 1-ton trucks, the larger trucks like that. This 7/8 rope is rated for 28,600 pounds minimum braking strength. So that's 28,000 pounds. If you look like this is a 2-inch flat strap, also Yankum Ropes brand, but they're pretty close for just about all of the normal like 2-inch flat straps. In a vertical pull, which would be like a straight pull like this, like on a kinetic rope, it's rated for 6,200 pounds. Even if you put this thing into a basket and doubled it up, it's rated for 12,400 pounds. Like half of what a 7/8 rope is. And this is a 2-inch flat strap. So this 7/8 rope is rated for almost double of what this is. And a really big key point here is, think about whenever you go and you take a running start at something and the kinetic energy that is built up. Say, like, for example, just say, for example, you hit like the end of a rope with, say, a 10-mile-an-hour. I'll do the actual math and I'll put it down here. So you hit a rope at 10 miles an hour. That you might hit it with a 6,000-pound truck, but that 6,000 pounds is transferred into probably over 30,000 pounds of kinetic energy that you are putting on that rope. That far exceeds that working load limit on a flat strap, unless you're using just a monster flat strap like an endless loop sling or something like that. And that is not what those things are designed for. They're not made for kinetic pulls. These are made for kinetic pulls. They have that stretch, and they're rated for hitting the end of it with kinetic energy. That is another huge reason why kinetic ropes are far superior to flat straps. Another really big thing about why Yankum Ropes is better compared to any other brand of kinetic rope is they are made in America. If you go onto Amazon or any other place and look, almost all the ropes are made in like China or some other country, and they don't use the same grade of nylon. They are made by like using dyed synthetic fibers instead of how Yankum Ropes does it. I have a video of how they're made that I filmed a few years back when I got to tour their factory. I'll put a link to that down below. But they start with nylon 6/6, which is like the finest nylon fibers you can get. And they take each end of those fibers, and they are woven into each individual strand that's inside of these. So like they start with a fiber that is like smaller than a human hair, and they craft it into these ropes. And then instead of using dyed fibers like most kinetic ropes, like this is an orange rope. Most other brands of kinetic ropes would be a lot softer and more pliable because they're a dyed fiber. And then they take that, and that's how they make their color. These are white before they are made, and then they take essentially like it's like a glue almost, and they dip these ropes in that. So each individual of these fibers is actually like basically they're all glued together. So, like, say out here, I do a lot of beach recoveries in the sand, in the mud, and normally with any other brand kinetic rope that uses dyed fibers, the sand will be able to work their way into the ropes, and then think of every time that rope stretches, it's got sand in the fibers, just basically sawing it away. Think of like a piece of sandpaper every time you sit there, and that rope cycles and it moves and it stretches. Yankum Ropes doesn't do that. It keeps all of the mud and all the sand, all of the debris out of the inside of the rope. So that way, the ropes last way longer. I have had ropes that I have personally used for years. Never had any issues. And I use my ropes pretty hard. I'll put a link down there, some of my videos, and I'll try to put some snippets in here of me like using a kinetic rope way too hard, and I have never broke a kinetic rope. I am going to step way back. That chain breaks. It's going to not be good. Ah! Perfect example of what not to do. The Jeep is pulling with the winch. It is also not what you're supposed to do. Oh, there goes the chain. What not to do, perfect example. I've never had a kinetic rope fail, even yanking on stuff way too hard because the rope failed. And that's a huge testament of how strong and how much safer these ropes are compared to a normal flat strap, because I have personally seen numbers of these ropes, of these straps, break whenever you're hitting them in doing kinetic recoveries, because they're just not made for that. These ropes are made for that, and that's another huge key point to how these things are far superior to literally everything else for off-road recovery. So if you find yourself wanting any of the Yankum Ropes gear, be it a kinetic rope, a soft shackle, even one of their flat straps, winch lines, hats, t-shirts, anything, I will have my discount code down here on the screen. It'll also be in the description of this video and in the pinned comments down below. Use that code for 10% off your order. Now Yankum Ropes is only doing discounts through their content creators. They're not doing any discounts like or sales on their websites anymore. Only way you're getting a discount is by using one of the discount codes to one of their creators. I'll have mine down there. They are also doing, right now they're doing a TRX giveaway. So you can go and use that discount, get a little bit more bang for your buck. You can order a bunch more stuff, get a discount, and then every dollar you spend is an entry into one of their giveaways. So, I hope some of the stuff that I've talked about in today's video has helped you make up your mind as to whether or not Yankum Ropes is better than any of the other brands of kinetic ropes, or if it's right for you. I would also like to add that like I said earlier, have used numerous other brands of kinetic ropes and other rigging for off-road recovery over my career. Yankum Ropes, I am now sponsored by Yankum Ropes, but whenever I first started using them as a brand, I got rid of every other piece of equipment and bought 100% Yankum Ropes with my own money. I spent thousands of dollars outfitting my trucks, my Jeep here, my wreckers, everything. I spent thousands of dollars of my own money outfitting them with Yankum Ropes gear because they are far superior to everything else. Almost every piece of gear that you see me use on my channel is provided by me. They have sent me some free stuff over the years, but starting out, every piece of equipment was purchased by me because I believe 100% that they are the best American-made recovery gear on the market. That's not just me pushing all this stuff because I'm an influencer for them and they send me free stuff or anything like that. I use Yankum Ropes gear not because they support me, but because I started supporting them first, because I believe that they are the best made gear in the world. They make everything in-house. They do not use any cheap stuff. They don't take any shortcuts. If there's a tiny little blemish, like I'm talking tiny little blemish, they don't send it out to their consumers. They have a whole separate lot that they pull the ropes out of, and then they won't sell them to the consumer. They take these ropes and all their gear very seriously. That's why I use them, because these ropes here these ropes are how I make my living. I use nothing but the best for that reason, because this rope is what puts food on my table. So I use these things for a number of years. Back whenever I was a volunteer, I was a hobbyist. I did off-road recovery for fun. Now I do it for work. I use these things really hard, and I trust these products for the reason of them being the very best in the market. I hope all the information in this video has been helpful in you making a decision on whether or not Yankum Ropes is worth it, if they are the route that you should take if you're looking for purchasing a kinetic rope, whether you're a hobbyist or you're a professional, you're in the towing industry or anything like that. I hope that these ropes are what you choose to equip your vehicle with, because I say with 100% confidence they are the best in the industry. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If y'all would, subscribe, like, and share. Go check out some of my other content where I use these things. I have some pretty good content, using these things like real world applications. So don't just take my word for it. Go and watch me put these things to work. I will see y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching.